Welcome to Cooking with 412 Food Rescue, supported by a UPMC health plan. In each episode, you'll get a quick, simple, family-friendly recipe that is both nutritious and delicious, using ingredients you can find in any grocery store. Each recipe includes options for customizing it to your personal tastes and feeds up to 4 people. Join us at the Good Food Project, 412 Food Rescue's kitchen, to see what we're creating today. Hi. Today we'll be making a classic cornbread in a skillet.
We're celebrating.
That's right.
Celery braiding.
Very nice. I like to put a little vegetation into mine. It's perfect as a side for fried chicken or barbecue, and it's a very simple and quick recipe. Shouldn't take more than 25 minutes.
I love that you're adding vegetables into it. I've never made it that way. I'm so excited to watch you and be part of this and then try it afterwards.
Fantastic.
Yay.
Let's get started. For the skillet cornbread, you will need an oven preheated to 425 degrees.
I'm assuming a skillet.
Classic.
Great.
Cornmeal, flour, sugar, 2 sticks of butter, 4 eggs, some celery, buttermilk, salt, and baking soda. You'll want to start with a small pot of butter melting, your 2 sticks. And while that's heating up, just mix your dry ingredients in to a large bowl.
Now, why do we add dry ingredients first without adding the wet ingredients?
You'll be able to get a more uniform mix
Okay.
from the dry ingredients before they start getting clumped up as you mix them.
Okay. That does seem really important whenever you want a smooth, delicious cornbread.
Absolutely.
So I know that's the same with things like pancakes or waffles or cake batters, adding in the dry ingredients in first and then adding the wet ingredients. It's something I see so often, but typically we might overlook that as being something that's important.
Absolutely. And with baking in general, it's a good method of practice because it's one of the things that provides consistency, which is crucial to baking.
Absolutely. It becomes more of a science as well. A beautiful art, a science.
Absolutely. So I've added 2 cups of the cornmeal. I'll be adding 1 1/3 cup of sugar. Got my 3rd cup here. 1 1/3.
It's
2
good to
cups
have
of
those
flour.
things level.
Absolutely. You want to level them off to make sure you've got the right amount, again, for consistency's sake.
And with flour, you don't want it to be so packed. So you're doing such a great job of adding it in without packing the flour down so you're not getting too much.
Just loosely
Yeah.
level it off. 1 and 2.
And for ease of remembering the ingredients, it's nice to know that it's 2 cups of flour and the 2 cups of cornmeal together, they mirror each other.
Correct. In this recipe, it's also equal parts buttermilk and celery.
Wow, that's easier.
So it's a really easy to memorize recipe. We want our salt, and that's a full teaspoon of salt, and a full teaspoon of baking soda.
And that helps it rise a little bit, so it's not
Correct.
so flat.
Yep, and
So
that'll
it's-
react with the buttermilk
Okay,
to do that.
so that's the importance of adding baking soda
Or a baking powder to
or
a
baking
recipe.
powder to a recipe.
Absolutely. Now we will grate some celery and prepare our wet ingredients. Let's put this here.
And you mentioned using celery or celery root.
I like to, typically when I do this recipe, I cook it down a little bit, but since we're talking about nutrition, I decided to try it raw this time.
Great. So if we're cooking it down, if we're boiling it, we could lose some of those nutrients. So we're keeping a lot of the nutrients in there.
Absolutely.
And this seems like a great way to also use up celery. If you had it for another recipe and had a little bit extra, then you could use it in this, or any extra, you can always make different snacks or use it in other recipes, soups, stews, have it with peanut butter.
Absolutely. And grating it tends to eliminate that really fibrous part that most people have a problem with celery, if they have a problem at all with it.
That's generally the part I don't like, so that's why I
Yeah.
was very excited about this.
Absolutely.
It adds more celery into my life, but without me knowing it. So it really creates a more plant-forward recipe.
Absolutely.
Using plant-based ingredients. It's not hiding celery at all. It's really enhancing the celery. It enhances the recipe. A great way to add vegetables into your
Absolutely.
day.
And I chose celery because it's a very mild flavor. It doesn't overbear when added to things. In fact, it kind of adds depth, especially to something that's typically very sweet like a cornbread.
This doesn't even look like celery anymore. It's such a beautiful color green.
Our celery's chopped, grated. You can do that in a food processor if you want to. I prefer to use a small cheese grater. You can remove that threaded bit like I was speaking about, and as always, if you can, compost those scraps. Now we're ready to add our liquid ingredients. I'm gonna whisk this just a little bit, again for uniformity, just to make sure that every bite has everything in it.
Then you're also getting the salt mixed in and everything all around.
Absolutely.
Much easier than when you add in the wet ingredients.
Absolutely. So from there, I won't use a whisk anymore. I'll be using my trusty wooden spoon. We'll do our cup of buttermilk.
So if you don't have buttermilk, you can use milk and then a little bit of vinegar,
Absolutely.
because not everyone, I don't always have it on hand, not everyone always has it on hand. That's a great way to have buttermilk, because you need the buttermilk in this recipe.
Yeah. It adds a lot of richness to the whole thing. So you've got your buttermilk, you've got 4 eggs, again, compostable shells.
And adds a lot of nutrition and protein to the dish as well.
Absolutely. And helps things hold together a lot in the baking world.
A lot of times we want to not use the yellow part of the egg, or we think that they're not as healthy, but really that has gone away. Eggs are very healthy for us. They don't increase our cholesterol. So even using that yellow part, that's where a lot of the nutrition is. I know it's also very good for the baking aspect of it, but the
Absolutely.
nutrition is also there too.
Absolutely crucial. And our celery. Feel free, if there will be some water, some celery water that comes out, incorporate that as well. It'll give the cornbread a nice moisture. And then just stir until mixed.
You're not even gonna know that celery's in there
That's
with
right.
the color.
I almost forgot. After you get your cold wet ingredients in, this is when you'll want to add your melted butter. Thank you.
And then you could use a skillet. Could you also use something like a muffin tin or a cake pan?
Absolutely. These can go into any shape just as long as whatever you're cooking it in is greased ahead of time. You can use some of your butter, you can use Crisco, you can use oil,
Like any of the sprays?
any of the sprays.
I've used muffin tins, or little muffin, like the cupcake holders.
Sure, the paper, those
Yeah.
work great. I think the silicone doesn't always require a lubricant, but
Okay.
and that's pretty much what you're looking for, just an evenly distributed
Do you want this in the
cornbread
center there?
mix.
There you go.
Absolutely. And our greased pan.
There's nothing like a skillet for cornbread though.
Absolutely.
And it's nice because you could top it with cheese, you could add cheese into there, you could put jalapenos on it, give it a nice little spice. You could really add any kind of peppers on top for color, for just additional nutrition benefit.
Absolutely. And if you want a nice crispy crust, you can preheat your skillet in the oven while it's preheating, and then
Oh.
pour this in while it's hot.
That's a great idea.
It'll also save you a couple minutes in the cook time.
Wow, I can't wait to try it.
Let's bake it off.
Thank you, Chef Greg. I cannot believe how delicious this smells. Cornbread is a great recipe for any beginning baker. It is also wonderful in any season, and it's wonderful for breakfast, lunch, or dinner. And it freezes well. So you can make it now and have some frozen for later. The celery in this gives it an extra nutrition punch with the fiber. I cannot wait to dig in. Absolutely scrumptious. Melts in my mouth. Enjoy with your family today.
I hope you enjoyed today's demo. For more information about the Good Food Project and 412 Food Rescue, please visit our website. Find the recipes in the comments below, and please subscribe to our YouTube channel.